Hi everyone, it's really pleasure and nice to be here. First, I want to share with you a little bit of my story so you can understand my perspective of this issue. I'm from Somalia originally, and I was born in Somalia also, in Mogadishu. And I came to Finland when I was 3 years old, and because of the civil war. My father was studying in Moscow, and after the civil war, he came here, and then after that, my mom and my brothers, we came to Finland. Even though I've been living in Finland almost my whole year, somehow I felt like I was living in a different world or a different country. And that's because early 90s, Somali community came to Finland. They were really big, large community. And obviously it wasn't easy to come Finland or being raised in Finland, but the most problems that I've been facing was, growing up with the two different rules and society which are totally different each other. An example, I'll give you a few examples, like when I was going to school, I remember at the same time, weekends, I used to go to Quran school where we be taught about the religion and about how to behave. And when we're talking about the violence, it was quite different because in Quran school, violence and children abuse was part of the learning. And at the same time, I used to go 5 days in a Finnish school where it was totally different, way to learn. So I had to balance, but from the early age, I knew that that wasn't normal. But obviously, I was scared to tell anybody because obviously it was somehow the norm that I share with other Somali children and other Somali communities. When we're talking about the domestic violence and we're talking about the communities, is different because there is a culture communities where we see differently the violence. It's so norm that, example, gender roles are different. There is a role for women and there is a strict role for men. And when the values and norm are together, then you're part of the communities. Then there's no place for individualism person there. You're part of the community and that's it. One of the problems that I also was facing was growing, especially as a woman and as a girl. At the same time, this Quran school or our community, it was normal that woman doesn't show that much. You don't show certain part of your body. You talk in a different way. You are more hidden. Your way to dress is more controlled, and also you have to carry in the right way the honor of your community or your families. And most of the time, these values and norms are made of men. And obviously, I wanted to, when I was younger, I wanted to talk. I was really hyperactive girl. I used to love playing football. I used to love chilling with the boys. And I remember that caused me a lot of problems. And I got the stigma that I was a bad behavior. But as I said, at the same time, I had to hide these kind of thoughts and problems at the school because I knew they would not understand, because I saw how other children were, and I just accepted that this is how I live, I have to live, and I'm not part of the society. And then, for the first time, I actually end up talking about this violence, domestic violence, or FGM, female genital mutilation, was when I was 17 years old. I used to go to youth center, hiding. My parents didn't know that, and we were a group of Somali girls, and there was Arabic girls and Kurdish girls, and we used to go there. And the first time, it just somehow came to the conversation because we heard some girls being taken recently to the different countries, and then I remember I started from my youth worker. Why this female genital mutilation is being done? Why we have to go through? And this time I want to tell you, I went through that also. And I remember my youth worker, she went shocked. She didn't know how to answer. She said, it's wrong to do and it's illegal in Finland, but that's it. I needed more answer. So I had to look for more information because the norm I was grow up was that female genital mutilation is part of becoming woman. Is a part of to protecting our honor and the face of our communities. And there wasn't other talks that I heard of it. And most of them people that I used to talk, they said is part of also religion. But as much as I got the information and I started looking for more information, I realized what is about it. And that is not part of the religion, but is a way to control women and is the way to control women's sexuality and is one of the biggest and dangerous human rights against women and girls. And after that, I started talking about in Finnish society and in a quick, I realized that in Finnish society, we weren't ready to talk about it because it was a hidden criminal. It was a hidden criminal. We didn't see these girls that it happened to. We didn't know how to start, how to talk. Like, it was quite different because I remember first time I started talking, I was shocked because this happened and we couldn't talk. And also, my community was shocked that I am questioning this. For them, it was really hard. They didn't believe, like, how can I question this kind of norm and our beliefs? And at the same time, Finnish society was shocked because they didn't know about this case. Of course, we had numbers, but we didn't realize that there is a people behind these numbers. And in this part, I want to tell you that because it happened to me, and a lot of people ask that, it happened to me when I was coming to Finland in Yemen when I was 2 years old. And I am not mad and angry that it happened, but because it happened, I cannot change it. But what I want to change is that no girls want it to happen to another girls or another kids, because I believe that since people are coming to Europe and in Finnish society, we should be able to protect these girls as we try to protect other girls also. And now I'm going to talk about a little bit of Phoenix and then honor-based violence. I am one of the founders of Phoenix also, because these issues that I've been telling you was one of the reasons we start building this NGO Phoenix. And other founders are all from different backgrounds. Some of them are born in Finland, but their families are from somewhere else. And the reason we did this is because sometimes we feel like the society and different communities, the gap is going too big. And the more people are coming, the gap are going bigger, and the sufferers are the ones in communities who are the communities and society also. And all our specialists are from different backgrounds. And we do a lot of researches, and we kind of made research inside the communities, because sometimes it's hard to make research outside from communities because people might not be honest and people might be scared, and plus there is language differences. All of them doesn't know how to speak the Finnish language. And what we do, we work with a lot of governments, different ministries, different social and health workers. We made a lot of trainees. We work with the police, with the different cases, and also we work abroad. We work in Somalia. We do some work together in Kurdistan and in different places. And most important for us is human rights of immigrant women and girls, FGM, multicultural youth work, and then violent extremist ideologies, such as like Islamic radicals. One of the FGM work that we have done in Finland is that we made one of the first research in Finland, because Finland authorities and social and health workers didn't, there was suspected that, okay, maybe there's girl being sent outside Finland and abroad to get female genital mutilation. But we made the first report. We found 4 girls that been sent. The girls were born in Finland, and they were sent to Somalia, Iran, Egypt, and Syria when they were 6 to 9. And they came back to school, and that's it. No one didn't realize what happened to these girls, and till today we don't have any court case in Finland, so it's really hidden crime. And after that we got our report, then in Finland, they start talking for the first time that FGM is a problem, an issue in Finland also. And of course it is, because it's in other European countries, and why wouldn't be in Finland also? Well, let's talk about honor-related violence in Finland. When we talk about honor-related violence, it's quite different when we talk about Western domestic violence, because one of the differences is that in a Western society or Finnish society, usually in domestic violence there is one person that commits the crime. But in honor-based violence, and the whole community might be the part of this violence. And it's not about individualism, it's about community, and their values are together. Contra behavior of family and community protect honor on religious belief is one of the reasons why honor-related violence is alive, and mostly is mostly girls and women are experienced, but also boys and men are victims. And men and boys usually are being raised that they have to protect honor of women and girls. And that is quite hard, because when the boy and men are given that role, then it's quite hard when we're talking about maybe 10 or 11 years boys. I remember when I was at school, there was boys that were really strict to control how their sisters dress, what kind of game they play at school, how they sit in a school class, or are they sitting with the next two boys or that. And it is quite hard. In Finland, the most honor-related violence happens in different culture communities, but I think it's not about the culture communities. I think it's all these kind of communities where is really same and common values have the same problem, because I realized that in Finland a lot of religion community might have the same problems, not the same violence, but the same problems about controlling and what are your options. What kind of, how related violence can be? There's forced marriage and also early marriage. And this is, I think this is quite issue also in Finland because we don't have a different law for forced marriage. And I can give you a few examples how the cases are in Finland. There's girls that been sent. There's been girls that's been disappearing from the school, like 14 or 13, 12 years girls doesn't come back to school after the summer, and after a few years they come back and they're married, and our school doesn't report as much as they have to. And this also happens with the female genital mutilation. Our girls just disappear from the school, and we don't know where they went. If they're lucky, they come back. If they're not, they won't come back. And this is really our society's issues because the youth and the girls we're talking about are girls that been born in Finland, so they've been taken to abroad to a culture or to a country where they don't know anybody, they don't know the culture, they don't know the people around them. Plus, we're talking about the conflict areas, so it's really, really dangerous for them or for anybody. Strict restriction on movement and circle of friends. Girls are usually being controlled whether they can. What can they do after school, or in Finland, a lot of girls are not able to go to swimming lessons at the school. I remember when I was young, we're not allowed to go to the watch movies, or from the school we had to come straight home. And this is quite, it gives you a lot of identity crisis because you see your friends, they do a lot of different things, and then you just being quite raised to a role that you're not ready. Threats, a lot of threats and isolation from the community and community perceptions. I had that problem also when I start talking about FGM. People coming to me saying, oh, you're embarrassing us, you're talking about these issues, a lot of issues are taboo, and then they try to push you from the community. And a lot of people ask me, why don't you leave the community? But people doesn't understand that the communities we're talking about, these are my family. We're talking about my parents, we're talking about my family, my siblings, their friends, the whole community I was growing up. And there is also good things, that it's not just negative. But it's not as easy we think. Psycho violence and honor killing murder. Honor killing and murder is the last stage and the worst stage that can happen. And I give you a little bit, one example. I used to do youth work, and I used to work with the youth from different background, and especially with the woman and a girl. And I remember 2015, I had this case, one of youth, 12 years old girl committed suicide. And of course, suicide is a lot of common also in Finland, common problem. But in this case, it was different. And I think the reasons that caused this was a lot of honor-based violence issues and controlling. And one thing I remember from this case was the school teachers and health sections, they did not made report of this girl to child protection because they asked the families come to the school. They were worried about this girl, and when she starts, doing this, then they told her mother, and in some culture, people don't believe in mental problems or mental issues. They believe that is white men's problems, and we don't have this, and for praying it goes away. And this woman said this girl hit her head when we were back in Africa, and they lived there. And this girl, when she went back home after a few months, she tried to jump from the window. And her mother just took it from there. She saved her, but she didn't call any ambulance or help. And the second time, the same day, she tried, and then, you know, she committed the suicide, and the girl died. And I was in this case, like, I was working with the family, I was working with the police, I was working with the school, and one conclusion that I came was that we don't understand the core culture and beliefs, and that's the reason why we cannot help these youth and children from the different backgrounds. In Finland, there is a research that says immigrant women are generally more than 2 times in a worse place and more vulnerable than to get sexual abuse than other women. I think this reason what caused this is because of the lack of knowing the systems, the language difference, and just the culture norms. And the culture norms, and you don't have option. If you live in a community, you don't know the language, and you don't know the systems, and you're coming from the culture where the woman and the men have different gender roles. The only option is that to be part of your community. Honor-related violence in Finland is still a hidden crime. That's why we don't have cases, we don't have numbers. We have cases, but we don't have numbers. Not in FGM, but not also forced marriages or honor-related violence. And according to the police, honor violence has become more common in Finland. And I also believe because the advocacy work in community also start working. How do honor-related violence come to the attention of the police? Through the school, through the social worker, through the health worker, and we are in a difficult position because when the woman doesn't know the language, most of her translator is her husband. And when they go to the social service or they go to the health care, she won't have a place to tell. And also the problem is that a lot of community doesn't believe in domestic violence or violence. There is other reason for that. I told you a little bit why it's difficult to address honor violence, but most of the biggest reason I believe, or we believe in Phoenix, that is protected by communality, because people who's been growing in these communities doesn't know. They doesn't know better. They doesn't know what is violence and how it affects them. And I remember when I was first time talking about the FGM, we had really long and big conversation with men about that. When it comes to violence and when it comes to gender-based violence, is about the victim, is not about them. And they didn't understand that when I have right to non-violence life, and it's my life, and it's about me. So there is a lot of values and different beliefs that control the whole conversation. So it's quite hard to understand how things seems inside the communities. And I believe that domestic violence or honor-based violence work should start inside the communities, because it's really hard, as I said, from outside to say and tell people this is what you have to do, because there's protection and there is, they think, oh, you're going to take our religion from us, you want to change our culture, and you're being racist. So it has to be also start from inside. Also, the legislation does not recognize communal violence because, as I said before, the victim is alone inside community or also inside the society if he doesn't or she doesn't get support from society, her community. She might face, oh, are you gonna do this to your husband? Oh, now you're gonna shame us, and now nobody's gonna marry you, and we're gonna take your kids away. And there is some culture where it's believed that if women get divorced, the children go straight to the man if she wants to get married again. So these kind of are the reasons why victims are going to be alone in communities, and the law doesn't protect them. And also the threat comes from the whole community, and most of worst cases, the threat comes outside the society. Their threats might come from the girl's family who lives abroad. I remember also when I started talking about FGM, my uncle and my aunties from Somalia that I never seen used to call me, oh, you're gonna embarrass us. And it's quite different when you are raised in an individual society where it's just about us and about me. But in this community, it's not about you. You have your role, and your role is part of that community, and it's really hard to understand. And honor violence is based off ideology. The way I said is how people see the violence. That's why change must begin with the communities. And when we go to communities, there is a hierarchy. Power is often based on age and gender. And I think you guess that if you're a woman, then you won't have a lot of opportunity to change things inside. Unequal gender roles is one of the reasons. Taboo subject, mental issues, mental problems, sexuality, and all these kind of subjects are taboo. Women are sexualized, and their roles in society and cultural community. Women are mostly seen as of course, not everybody, but most of the women are seen as a mother and as a wife. And that causes also a lot of problems. Unequal structures, for example, usually those in authority and leaders are men. Yes, most of the communities I've been working in Finland society or abroad, the leaders are men. And this is really a big problem, because if we don't have women leaders, then obviously the needs of women will never come, and we won't get any change. And us Phoenix, we talk about in Finland a lot of shadow societies. I think we don't have to yet say that we have shadow society, but if we go to Sweden and Norway and some other countries, and even if I see in Finland inside the society, I believe that we're not far from so-called shadow society, where there are different norms and different laws and different way to live in society, Western society. And I am really worried about that, because it will control how women see each other, how girls see each other, what are their opportunities, what they study, can they go to work. And we know that in Finland, immigrant women, they don't work that much as they have to work, or they have opportunity to work. So I hope that we will get a lot of change makers and a lot of different voices from inside the society, so we can make sure that inside society is safe for every girls and for every woman. And the last what I've been experienced the last 15 years working in Finland, that when we talk about violence and gender-based violence, which doesn't actually see the skin color or the where you're from or that, and is part of every society, I am worried that when it comes to immigrant women, their problems and their violence against them is seen as a integration issue. And of course there is a lot of integration issue, but there's also some other issue than just integration, because the same violence is in Western societies and it's not about integration. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have some questions.
Okay. Should I just
start from the beginning?
Put this first?
No, I will.
Okay.
Do it in English. What actions do child protection services take when a case of FGM is identified in Finland?
They should, of course, to start investigation, whether is it false alarm or is it right, or is there is a reason, and obviously they need to contact the police. But our problems in Finland is that teachers doesn't do they doesn't inform the social services, and social services they don't have the knowledge in practice to recognize who are at the risk of going through FGM. Also, they need to ask, because FGM goes step by step. First, before the teacher will know that this girl is going a certain age to a country where is really common FGM, and the work should start from there. But there, we still doesn't have cases.
Okay, but is it punishable, the FGM by law in Finland?
Yes, it is.
Do you have any case?
No, we don't.
Punishment?
No.
Okay. What do your parents think about your job? Are they supportive or don't understand why you are not following Somali culture norms?
Nowadays they support. I'm really close with my sisters. I have really big family. We 8 plus my father's other wife's kids. But yeah, they support. But from the beginning it was quite hard. Also, we haven't speak about the FGM with my parents yet.
Okay. Do you think there is religious bias in reporting about these girls who go missing for X amount of years or cannot do something, some activities?
You mean racist?
Yes.
Racism. Yes, there is, and that's how I believe. People say that it's hard to get involved or ask because they're scared of they might be told that you are racist, but I see in the opposite way, because these children need protection from the law like any other kids, and just because their background is different, they won't get that protection. I see that's quite...
Okay.
Yeah,
there are many actually questions about FGM. You can answer for them later in this special website, but there's one important. Who actually is responsible for FGM happening to girls? Who decides it? Father of the family?
Well, men, women and grandmothers and women are the ones who practice FGM. But the reason why we're doing is protect women's sexuality and protect the virginity, so it's made for men.
Okay, but this tradition is changing.
It is changing, yeah, little by little. It is changing, but I think because of COVID, so it will raise because it's really FGM has a really strong link to early marriage and status and the value of the woman. So in countries where there is a lot of poor people, they see it as a income. Because when the girl get married, they need money from the future husband. So if the girl is clean, then is more money. So COVID is also, I think, will made the cases go up.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And it was very nice to see you here in Estonia.
Thank
so
you.
If you find time to answer for those questions,
okay, I will try.
Very nice.